God hates pride. The Bible talks a lot about that. In the book of Ezekiel, it tells us the 4 things that cause pride. This is dealing with Satan in this passage. The devil is saying, well, the Lord is talking about the devil. He said, thou hast said, thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God. Woo, this guy's got some power. First thing that causes pride is power. People in a position of power often get proud. This is me a couple years ago before I got sick. Actually not, but have you ever noticed the bodybuilders? It looks like they walk around like this, you know, like they picked up the hairspray instead of the deodorant. I taught school 15 years, man. You always get the football players. They come sit down in class, and they got their sleeve rolled up 5 or 6 notches, you know, and they sit down there and say, teacher, I got a question. No, you don't. Man, you're just trying to flex and show everybody. Now, there's nothing wrong with power, nothing wrong with muscles, but there's something wrong with pride. See, if God gave you big muscles, yay, wonderful. Don't get proud and haughty and cocky about it. Use them for the Lord. I remember we had a guy in our church in Texas named Darrell Bowie. He was a Texas powerlift champion. 740 pounds in the powerlift he lifted. Darrell was a friend of mine. I make friends with people like that. I performed the wedding when he and his wife got married. He was a black guy, went to our church in Texas. And I ran the chapel in Tyler, Texas. We had about 300 black kids that came to church every Sunday afternoon. We drove the bus over there, picked them up, brought them to the gymnasium, and had church services for them. And so I did that for years in Tyler, Texas. And I said, Darrell, hey, since you're black, and I'm white, and these kids are all black, you'd be a good role model. Why don't you come and do some weightlifting and share your testimony? He said, that'd be great, Brother Hovind, I'd be glad to. He said, you get all the weights you can find in the school, bring them into the gym, and I'll come lift some weights and share my testimony. So we worked and passed out flyers, and it was a big bus promotion, you know, Darrell Bowie, Texas powerlift champion, coming to the Tyler gym. And we had the place packed full of kids that day. Darrell walked in with his suit kind of stretched over all them big muscles, you know. And he walked over and said, Brother Hovind, how much did you get? I said, Darrell, we got all the weights out of the high school. We got 390 pounds. He said, 390? Is that all? I said, is that all? What do you mean, is that all? It took 10 of us to carry it in here. He said, well, put it on. I said, put all of it on the bar at one time? Want to break something? He said, no, man, I won't need to take my suit coat off for this. He laid down and bench pressed 390 20 times like it was a toy. Just he jumped up off the bench, and those kids went. And then he said, all right, how many of you would like to see Brother Hovind do this? Of course, you know what the kid said. Yay, let's go, Brother Hovind. Well, I couldn't disappoint him. I laid down and did it 30 times. Actually, I did lay down. And I pushed on that bar hard. I don't think the bar knew I was pushing on it, because I couldn't get it up off the yoke. If I would have, it would have killed me on the way back down. Now, there's nothing wrong with muscles, but there's something wrong with pride. God hates pride. Same thing happens when the boys turn 14 or 15 and they finally get that first hair to grow on their chest. They're so proud of it. They always leave their shirt unbuttoned way down to here. They got a little hairspray, a little ribbon tied around it, and a sign says, hair. It's 40 below zero. They're walking around outside, you know. Somebody says, aren't you cold? He says, I'm freezing. Well, button your shirt. No, man, if I button my shirt, they wouldn't see. They wouldn't see what? This hair right here. See this thing? Oh, here, I'll get it for you. Oh, you just wrecked his whole life, man. He's been working 14 years trying to grow that thing. You yanked it out, roots and all. I remember when I was going to college, Midwestern Baptist College, Dr. Tom Malone, Pontiac, Michigan. A bunch of the guys in the school decided, hey, let's grow a mustache. Kind of a fad, you know. We get around in the dorm, hey, you going to grow a mustache? Yeah, I'll do it if you will. Okay, I'll do it. You're going to do it? Yeah, I'll do it. Okay. So we all decided we're going to grow a mustache. I let both hairs grow for a while. And Dr. Malone got up in chapel one day and said, okay, students, we're going to have a new rule at the school. I thought, just what we need, another new rule. He said, no more mustaches on the men, or the women for that matter. And then he said something I couldn't believe. He said it publicly. I was so embarrassed by what he said next. I would never repeat what he said. He said, I don't understand why you fellas want to cultivate something under your nose that grows wild under your arm. So I went back to the dormitory, picked up my seldom used razor, took one last longing look in the mirror, and shaved both of them off. Watched them go down the drain. One of the guys across the hall in the dormitory got mad because of the new rule and quit school. Refused to shave his mustache. Now listen. There's nothing wrong with the mustache. There's nothing wrong with the beard. But there's something wrong with pride. God hates pride. It's the pride God hates, not the hair. The Bible says there's 4 things that cause pride. First one is power. Ezekiel 28, verse 3 and 4 says, Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches. Oh, wisdom and riches. Money. 2 more things that cause pride. You know, what is it about the super smart folks in this world? Not too many of them have a sweet, humble, godly spirit. The kind of attitude like, God, I'll do anything you want. Not too many of the super bodybuilders have that sweet, humble, godly spirit. Nothing wrong with brains. God made brains. And if God made you smart, wonderful. Yay. Use it for Him. But I've noticed in the debates I do at universities, lots of these guys I debate are extremely smart. But it's become their downfall. They're proud, arrogant, cocky. We don't need God. We can explain it by evolution. You Christians are so dumb. That's the way they think. And the atheists drive by this church and think how stupid you are for being here. They have a smarter than thou attitude. Nothing wrong with brains, but there's something wrong with pride. The Bible says, with thy wisdom thou hast gotten thee riches, and the heart was lifted up because of thy riches. Third thing that causes pride is money. Money can cause pride. Now, there's nothing wrong with money, but there's something wrong with pride. And if God gave you lots of money, yay, wonderful, use it for Him. You know, you can see the emotions that money brings when you play Monopoly. How many have ever played Monopoly before? How do you feel when you are winning at Monopoly? Have you ever won at Monopoly? Let's suppose you are winning big time. You own the whole board, except for Waterworks. You have $10,000 sitting there. The bank is empty. You have it all. And it's your turn to roll the dice. You have hotels on everything. Are you nervous? No. You get that proud, cocky, I can go any place attitude, and you toss the dice, right? You're not worried you're going to land on Waterworks, are you? No, are you kidding? What's it going to be? 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 100, 500,000? Here you go, keep the change. Now, have you ever played Monopoly and you lost? You ever lose? More of you. Not very good, huh? How do you feel when it's your turn to roll the dice and all you have is Waterworks and $5? The other guy owns the whole board. He even owns Community Chest and Go. It's your turn to roll the dice. Here's what you're doing. You're shaking the dice a little longer than normal because you're praying. You're saying, Lord, I would like to go to jail. Please send me to jail. Lord, I promise I will not get out for all 3 turns. Then you toss them down and you land on Boardwalk. You say, oh, brother, Boardwalk. Oh. So you say, how much is it? He said, let's see, Boardwalk with 12 hotels. Let's see. That's going to be $4.5 million. And you pick up your $5 bill and you count it. 5. Then you look, see if you dropped any, you know. Let's see, no, don't see any around here. You know, you have a whole different attitude when you're broke. And God knows that. He knows it'd go to our head if He gave us a bunch of money. I hear Christians say all the time, Lord, if you'd let me win the lottery, I'd tithe. And the Lord's up there saying, I gave you $10 last week. You didn't tithe off of that. How do you expect me to trust you with $1 million? I can't trust you with 10. Money causes pride. The Bible says the heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Beauty causes pride. You know, not many of the gorgeous, beautiful women in the world have a sweet, humble, I'll do anything, servant's heart attitude. Nothing wrong with beauty. Nothing wrong with makeup. Every old barn needs a coat of paint once in a while. But there's something wrong with pride. God hates pride. I taught school 15 years, man. I remember typically when you have the election to vote in the cheerleaders, not always, but often, the pretty, talented, popular girls get voted in to be the cheerleaders. And not always, but frequently, something changes in their attitude. They realize they are a cheerleader. They get their nose up so high in the air. If it rains, they're going to drown. And they get this attitude, you know, I'm a cheerleader. My sweat don't stink anymore. And they have their own little clique, you know. They get together at the lunchroom, and one girl's sitting there, and she's a cheerleader, and she's sitting at the lunchroom, you know. And another girl comes in to eat her lunch, and she's not a cheerleader. She's a few pounds overweight, got a few warts and zits, and she does not have an alligator on her shirt, you know. And this little girl sits down, and the cheerleader says, excuse me, dearie, that seat is saved for another cheerleader. Would you please take your lunch and go outside and eat it under a truck or something? And you just want to slap the devil out of them. You know what I'm talking about? That proud, cocky, I'm pretty, you're ugly attitude. Now, nothing wrong with beauty, but there's something wrong with pride. You know, these dumb teenage guys, I can't figure out. Somebody told me the hormones develop way before the brain. They'll come in and they'll say, Brother Hovind, you ought to see my girlfriend. Wow, she's so pretty. I'll say, well, that's good, that's good. Let me ask you a question. Does she love the Lord? Oh, I don't know about that, but wow, is she pretty. Oh. I'll say, well, excuse me, but she might not always be pretty. He'll say, oh yeah, she's always going to be pretty. Oh, you think so? Well, why don't you go to the nursing home and pick out which one you want her to look like? Fellas, you really ought to find one that loves the Lord. That'll mean a lot more 50 years from now. And these dumb teenage girls, they come in and say, oh, you ought to see my boyfriend. He is so handsome. Wow. I'll say, well, does he know how to work? Can he get up in the morning? Does he show up at work on time every day? Oh, no, he don't do that, but boy, is he handsome. Well, listen, honey, I don't want to burst your little bubble, but he's going to be pot-bellied and bald-headed one of these days. You better find one that knows how to work and loves the Lord and knows how to put the bread on the table. That's going to mean a lot more one of these days. The Bible says beauty can cause pride. Proverbs chapter 6, these 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud, look, first one on the list. You know, God hates pride. Pride and arrogancy and the evil way and the froward mouth do I hate. Proverbs chapter 7. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Lord. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. Only by pride cometh contention. The word contention means fights, arguments. Every fight is caused by pride. You're running out to the car, and your brother or sister says, I want the front seat. Ooh, pride. Mom, I want to sit by the window. Ooh, pride. Hey, Mom, I want the controller. He keeps changing the channels. It's my turn to watch TV for a while. Ooh, pride. Sounds like I've been in your house, huh? Nope, just got 3 kids of my own. Hey, kids, next time you're running out to the car and your brother or sister says, I want the front seat, here's what you should do. This will work every time. Listen now. You should say, okay, and get in the back. Don't say another word. And your mom will faint. And you will get to drive the car. That's the front seat you really want. You know, got that wheel and then pedals down there. That's the one you want. Every single fight's caused by pride. Hey, you husbands and wives not getting along too good? I know what your problem is, and I don't even know where you live. It's pride. Hey, you're not getting along with the boss too good, huh? I know why. It's pride. The Bible says every fight's caused by pride. Better read it.